Because what Janni says is that when he stretches, he has a tendency of leaning on the bit. So we're going to try and do the little exercise we talked about by connecting the reins to the front legs and to the chest muscles. And we're going to use the Reintensiondevice to make sure that Janni knows what she's looking for and feeling. So we're starting by teaching him to step backwards just when I'm giving him a really light grip tap here on the chest muscles. And we're doing it in a step back because he's using the same muscles to step back as he would use to slowing down in the beginning until he gets stronger and better and he can slow down from his hind leg. But in the beginning he'll use these muscles here to slow down. And what we want is we want to connect the bit and the reins to those muscles. And the mouse doesn't know if it's the rider putting pressure on the rein or if it's the horse's neck putting pressure on the rein. So that is why we need to educate the mouse so that the second the horse feels pressure in the mouse, it gives a reaction down here in the chest muscles. And what is it, green? Is it blue? Getting green?
Green now.
Green? Both greens?
Yes.
Oh, good. Very good. So now the rider already knows the level of the pressure from the lights, and so she can sort of follow it there. And then I can help by touching the chest for the first couple of times. Så holder du bare et stabilt pres og fortæller mig, hvornår er du oppe der, hvor jeg var. And I'll help him. Good. So he was a bit distracted by someone else coming in. Doesn't matter. Sammen igen. Og du siger, nu når du når. Ja. Og en gang til. Yeah, good. So we can use this so that now we know what level of pressure motivates this horse to give a reaction. We might not be able to get this light pressure all the time, but we know that if he's focused and he's quiet and he understands the task, this is the level of pressure that he will try to remove by giving us a response. And that's very nice, and for him it was pretty good. It was a very low pressure, so even though we maybe started out by thinking the horse was a little heavy and a little dull because he likes to hang on the rein, we know now that if he knows how to relieve the pressure, he will do it at a very light pressure. So that's sort of what we're aiming for. And the device gave us that information. And for the rider as well, she knows that it's okay to go those 2 or 3 lights because that's what's working for him right now. Because this is what happens. She goes to trot and he starts leaning on the bit. And then she's been trying to make him go forward to not lean on the bit. But the bit is supposed to connect to the chest and to the front legs in the beginning. So now what we did instead was that when he was leaning on the bit, the mouth felt pressure, and then she had to stop him because we're teaching him that when you feel pressure in your mouth, you have to slow your legs down and then we release. So hopefully we're going to see that after a couple of repetitions that he's going to stop leaning on the bit because he knows that now they connect to the body and not to the neck. Og ned i skridt. Og giv efter. Ja, godt Janni. For du kan godt mærke, hvis du bare holder fast der, kommer du til at bære ham rundt, ikke? Godt, så skridt igen. Eller klar, undskyld, det var godt. Og let tøjle. Ja, og ned i skridt. Og giv efter. Godt. And so now we can start working with the blue and the green lights again, so that she goes up to a blue light before he starts to react. But then when he starts to react, she can go back to a green light and stay there until he gets the walk, and then she can release completely. Yeah, before he would run away if something was too scary. And when the rider did apply pressure on the rein, he would pull against it, like he's doing now. Så ned i skridt. Ja, Giefta. Good. So that little extra mental tension brought back the old behavior. So he went back to leaning on the reins again, as what has been the problem. A big horse for a little lady, and he's been hanging on the hand. So the first, very nice. The very first thing to do for them was the little exercise with the bit and connecting the reins to the front legs and to the chest muscles, so that the behavior of leaning on the bit will go away. Maybe bring him to walk, Yanni? Just eat. Yeah, very nice. So that's the first thing, that she can actually start using the reins without the horse replying to her cues with leaning on the reins. And once she started doing that and he got lighter, he also started to relax. And as we see when he's trotting, du må gerne trage igen, Yanni. He's completely stretching his top line. And if we look behind the saddle, he's a little long, and he's had a lot of problems in his lumbar part. Sometimes we see a little bit of funkiness in behind, which is probably due to that. So by allowing him to stretch, he's going to be able to relax that area. And then when that tension goes away, it's going to be easier for him to bring his neck up again. And then by then he will have learned to be light on the reins, and he will have learned to stretch his top line and release tension in his top line. And those are the basic foundations for him starting to have a connection and being round and starting the first little steps of being collected. But he will never have a chance of being collected if you just curl his neck up as it is right now, because every time in the beginning he felt the pressure on the reins, he would just reply by hanging and dropping his chest and removing all the weight into his forehand. So it's not how he's going to go forever, but it's the most important part, to get him light in the rein and relaxed over his top line, because that is the most crucial thing to ever expect to be able to collect the horse even a little bit.